Paranormal in Pennsylvania may discuss topics such as suicide, murder, and other potentially upsetting things. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, and welcome to Paranormal in Pennsylvania,
where we discuss history and hauntings.
Today's story takes us to a haunted mansion. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Erica.
Let's get into it. So, a haunted mansion.
It just makes me think of the Disney ride.
I know, in the movies.
I don't know that I've ever seen those.
They made a new haunted mansion last year or so.
Are these like the fake horror movies? No,
No,
that's Monster House.
Monster House is not a fake horror movie. It's just a kid's movie. Scary Movie is like the
parody.
Spoof. Yeah.
Okay. Well, fair. I've been misled.
Well, yeah, the Haunted Mansion ones are good. The first one is Eddie Murphy, and the new one, I cannot think of the names of anybody that's in it. Great. That was informative. Anyways, so the Frick Mansion is what we're talking about today.
Yay! So like a quintessential Pittsburgh name.
Yes. Have you been to the Frick?
I don't know, because so many buildings are called the Frick something. So I don't know where or what building specifically this is.
Okay. This is like a preserved family home.
Okay, probably not then.
Okay. I have not either, but the outside looks beautiful. And the Frick Mansion is also called the Clayton House or the Clayton Mansion. Interesting, because it was the Frick family. But it's because Henry Clay Frick and his family took over the home in 1882, and they lived there until 1905.
I was going to say, wasn't there like something Clay Frick?
Yeah.
Like, in my head, I was like, I feel like that kind of goes together, even though Clayton Mansion is interesting.
Yeah, I think it comes from clay.
Yeah.
And I mean, people did own it before the Frick family.
Okay.
The home has 23 rooms, and it's decorated in a style reflective of wealth during the Gilded Age, which is when the Frick family lived here. During their time, they had 2 children here, and they lost 2 children.
Oh, that's really sad.
Yeah, so they had 4 kids total, and they lost half of them, which, I don't know, for the 1880s, maybe that was normal.
Yeah, that's fair. It's interesting because we always kind of hear, I think, just generally in society that people used to live to a shorter age, but it's actually because there was so much like infant mortality and child death at that time that it brings the average down. So people were kind of like living towards like where they weren't so much younger than us. It's just because of infant mortality.
I did not know that. I always assumed that it was just because they didn't have like preventative medicine. And I always thought it was weird when this is a really weird example, but not Alexander Hamilton, Eliza Hamilton lived to 90.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the Revolutionary War,
Yes.
That's a long time ago, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, and I do think that because, they didn't have as much medical technology as we do. They were younger, but it's not as exaggerated as people think because of the averages.
That makes sense. So they did have those 4 children, like I said. One child, Henry Clay Jr., died just after birth, and the other, Martha, died at 6 years old. The Frick family consisted of Henry Clay Frick, Adelaide Howard Childs Frick, and then the children, Childs Frick, Martha Frick, Helen Frick, and Henry Clay Frick Jr. The ones that lived to adulthood are Childs and Helen.
Okay, Childs is an interesting name. I don't know that I've heard that one.
I think it comes from the mom's name, since her name is Adelaide Howard Childs Frick.
Right.
So, Childs.
Cool.
I think they were very big on, passing down names.
Oh my god, yeah. That's actually something, working in immigration, obviously, I've seen, a lot of different passports, and something that I think is so cool about Indian culture is that a lot of times, a child's first name will be their father's last name.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's interesting. In 1905, which is when the family left the mansion, they moved to New York City, and they're said to have moved out fairly quickly and left several of their belongings. The literal word that I read when researching this multiple times was fled to New York City, but I couldn't really find much about why they fled to New York City.
Yeah, because it's not in the city. It's not like we have heard like horror stories of Henry Clay Frick. I still feel like that's a pretty respected name around here. So I'm very curious as to why they fled.
Yeah, it's interesting. One of the eldest daughters, Helen, loved Pittsburgh so much that she gave back to the Pittsburgh community even after they lived in New York, because they did have quite a fortune. And she eventually returned to live in the house for the last 3 years of her life.
Oh, well, that's really nice that she came back.
Yeah. And did you read that book about the hauntings of the Frick house?
No.
It's not a true story. I should find what it is, because I think you'd like it. I read it for one of my book clubs. So now the paranormal story. The Frick mansion is said to be home to multiple ghosts, including Henry Clay Frick's wife, Adelaide, and their daughter, Helen, which makes sense because Helen loved it.
Yes. Yeah, obviously enough to return, which is really cool, especially from New York City, because I feel like that's a big city. And I do feel like we hear about people moving back to Pittsburgh. Like, I don't know if you've heard that a lot. But I feel like a lot of people that I talk to, whenever I say like, oh yeah, and then this person moved back, they're always like, everybody moves back. So like, I think that's a thing. But yeah, kind of cool that she came from New York.
Yeah, it's a good city. And I mean, people say that it's like the Midwest of Pennsylvania or whatever, because people are like so nice and friendly. And I think also to be at that time a member of a prominent family, she probably had a lot of social connections here.
That's actually true. And probably had to move away because like you kind of grow up with your social connections. So it might have been hard in New York. But I am curious as to why Adelaide's back.
Yes. And what's interesting is, in my opinion, the ghosts here don't seem angry. They just seem to exist. So at the end, we'll see what your opinion is on them. Staff of the mansion have claimed to hear footsteps in the middle of the night, specifically on the 3rd floor where Helen's bedroom was. And people say that because Helen loved the house, she's walking around and is maybe even still like supervising the house in her afterlife.
I could see that because she was there when she was older. And so she may have been like very particular about how the house was run at that time.
Yeah. And again, if like you have such good memories in a house, you know, it's like whenever you think back to your childhood home, it's like, oh man, good time.
Yeah, yeah.
Interestingly, people that work there say that some should just avoid the 3rd floor. And they say specifically to never sit on the beds on the 3rd floor because it will anger Helen.
Does Helen show any signs, or is it just like, is that sort of like just a sign of disrespect?
I think it's just a sign of disrespect because she doesn't seem to really interact much. But they say that the family in general is very protective of the portions of the house that were the family's. Because remember, they would have been entertaining a lot on the 1st floor. So they really like their privacy, even in their afterlife, I guess.
That makes sense, yeah. I was wondering if she like showed any signs of being angry about it. Like, I don't know, like the footsteps get heavier or quicker when you're like sitting on the beds. But I guess that does make sense, because if I was like a spirit and some random person just sat on my bed, I would be like, what are you doing?
Right. And especially because they were wealthy people, it'd be like, how dare you?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's really interesting. Staff also claim that you shouldn't sit on the beds because sometimes they see indentations on the bed. So it's like the spirits are sleeping there.
Oh, that's really interesting. I feel like that would be a cool haunting to see, like to actually be there and visualize, you know?
I think that's easy for you to say because I think if we saw that at an investigation, you would, maybe you
I'd
would
probably run. I don't know. Maybe you're right, because I'd be like, oh, okay, well, don't want to disturb this one, so let's just leave.
I think at first it'd be like, oh my gosh, is that the indentation of a person sleeping there? And then you'd be like, oh my gosh, like.
Right. But I feel like it would be like like I'd be like screaming, but I'd be like, don't wake them.
Right.
Because it's just going to get worse then.
Right. Like, don't let them see you.
Right.
And that's said to specifically happen on Adelaide's bed, which is interesting. They only appear sometimes, so it's not all the time, which makes me think that the spirits really are still living here.
Yeah.
Rather than just existing in one form or like location.
Here's my question. So they lived in the house, they moved to New York. I know Helen moved back towards the end of her life, so I'm
Hmm.
assuming that her bed is her bed.
Hmm.
But was Adelaide's bed the same bed that her and Henry used when I don't know that that would have been anywhere online. Seems like a very specific question, but I'm curious.
I'm not sure. I know it said that some of the furniture is just Gilded Era furniture, and some of it's actually Frick family furniture.
Okay.
Because you're right, like Helen's bedroom set, I believe, is still hers. I'm not sure about Adelaide. But that's a good point. If it is her bedroom set, I could see her being very tied to it.
Yes. Yeah. And like kind of recognizing it as she's like back in her spirit form. But even if it's not, if Adelaide is kind of aware that she's in a spirit form and is kind of like moving through the house knowing, then I feel like she may have, realized like, oh, well, we did move. So somebody probably just replaced this and then like took it on as her own.
I see. That is a cool theory. I could see that being the case. Or even like, oh, just a new bed.
Yeah, like because if it's from the Gilded Era, it probably looks at least somewhat similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in familiar style.
Yes.
That's interesting. In addition to the two family members, there are said to be Civil War spirits here, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, that is.
There's actually one group that caught an EVP of what they claim to be a Civil War soldier saying haunted home, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right, and why are they Civil War spirits?
I don't know. That's a good question. And then the other question is like, are they aware that they have passed, or are they like, oh no, it's a haunted home, thinking that they're alive?
That's interesting. I wonder, when was the Civil War?
1861 to 1865, I
I
believe.
can't believe you know that off the top of your head.
I think.
That's wild. I was going to be like, it was like the mid 1800s, right? And you're like 1861 to 1865, like holy crow.
I think I'm gonna feel so dumb if I'm wrong, but I'm
But
pretty sure
imagine
that's
how
me.
you'll feel if you're right.
That's fair.
But okay, so it was before the Fricks lived here, was going to be my point. But if they're not in their EVPs saying that they're Civil War spirits, how do we know that they're Civil War spirits? It just seems random.
That's actually a very fair point. And I'm wondering if because you said that people lived here before the Fricks, right?
Yes.
So it wasn't like it was just open grounds before they built the house there, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's interesting.
I'm a little skeptical of that one. I think there's definitely other spirits there. And I do think the haunted home statement is interesting. Because like you said, is it an intelligent haunting where they're aware that they're dead and they're saying to you, like, I'm a ghost, this home is haunted? Or do they think like, oh my gosh, I'm alive and there are ghosts here?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yes. But I agree with you. I would have to hear somebody talk about how they knew it was a Civil War spirit for me to know how they knew that. Like
Right.
either an apparition that's in a uniform, or maybe there are further EVPs that kind of place them in that specific era and specific like thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just seems weird. And I don't know how involved in the Civil War Pittsburgh was.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I know there were battles across the state, but I couldn't tell you anything specific around here.
I know, I'm trying to think. I'm like, did we talk about that when we went to like Fort Robert Doe or anything?
I don't think so.
It was just like the frontier, and I think that was revolutionary.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So, interesting to me. I'm just skeptical of that. There are also reports of the ghost of a young boy, and he said to roam the parlor looking lost. I couldn't find any accounts of just how young he is said to be, but I wonder if it's one of the kids that died.
That was exactly what I thought. I know that the boy child died
Henry
in
Clay.
infancy.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah, that's interesting. It would almost be like Henry like grew up a little bit in his spirit form somehow.
Well, because that's what I think. Roam is a very specific term. And everywhere that I saw it said like roam or wander. Because if he was a literal baby, he'd be like crawling,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
would be terrifying to see. But I'm thinking it must at least be minimum like a 1.5-year-old.
Yeah, yeah. And then the other question is like, did Helen have any children?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. I can't remember, but for some reason I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, so then it wouldn't be any of her kids either, like searching for her. And then the only other thing I could think of is maybe associated with one of those other spirits, which may or may not be Civil War related, but
or maybe if the family that lived there beforehand lost a child, or I'm wondering if it's Martha and people are incorrectly identifying them as a boy.
oh, because she was 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it too. I think, don't quote me on this, but weren't like shorter hairstyles
Oh,
like
yeah.
more prevalent? Like Shirley Temple
Yeah.
is like automatically what I'm thinking of. And I know that like that doesn't say anything about their gender, but I think when you're talking about someone looking at a spirit and getting a very quick glimpse, it may contribute to them thinking that it's a male child.
Yeah. Oh, people think that my child is male all the time. All the time. People are always like, oh, he's so cute. And I just don't even say anything.
Well, that's fair.
I mean, part of it is it's not like she's wearing pink all the time.
Right.
But I just don't correct it.
Yeah.
But, she's also young. So, but I agree. I think it could be a few things. If they are looking for their family, though, that's sad. Like, looking for something is sad, especially when it comes to young children. Although maybe it's not sad. Maybe they're looking for like a pet or a toy, or maybe they're playing hide and go seek.
Yeah, that's true. Like wandering could be kind of a good thing.
Yeah.
If they're like playing.
What's interesting is the scent of flowers is said to accompany this spirit. And we all know how I feel about scents because the odors can get trapped in porous materials like fabrics and wood. However, because it is only showing up when someone is seeing this apparition, I do think it could be associated. But if it is flowers, I have a few theories. One is it is Martha. The second is maybe it's funeral flowers.
Oh, yeah, that would be really sad, but yes.
Because they used to do funerals in the houses.
Yes.
And he's in the parlor.
Right. Actually, I did not know they did funerals in the homes.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, yeah, they did. They used to have, like, in your living room, you would have, like, the casket and people would come and give their respects.
That's a lot more affordable, I will say.
Yes.
Rather than doing, like, a wake in a funeral home. But I would be really scared to have anything, like, specifically a human remain in my living room.
There are actually a lot of laws about human remains because I was like, could I theoretically keep someone's skull after they died?
Oh.
Like, wouldn't that be kind of cool?
I mean, that would be, yeah.
Like, you just have a wall of skulls and it's like, this is my grandmother. This is my grandfather. And maybe this is just me because I'm weird and spooky. But
no, I kind of do. Oh my God, it's like Mary Shelley keeping her husband's heart after he passed.
Yes, but it's illegal in Pennsylvania. So if you wanted to do a funeral or a wake at home now, you have to like get special permission and stuff. And then you have to prove that you're taking care of the corpse because mistreatment of a corpse is like one of the charges.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why you can't just like keep a skull.
That's interesting. I would not have thought that would be what has stopped. Like, that would be one of the laws, is like mistreatment of the corpse, especially if you're doing it for a loved one. I'm terrified. It's funny because like my fear of spirits and like the paranormal has definitely significantly decreased since we started doing stuff. Mm-hmm. But my fear of dead things is still super prevalent.
Interesting. So like if I were to be like, oh hey look, this is a skull, like from a person, would you be like, oh?
Maybe not because it's a skull, but like I couldn't like look at my grandfather in the casket. I was like so scared. Or like when my fish died, it took me like an hour to literally walk to the fish and pick it up because I was like physically like terrified of this like dead fish.
Interesting. Are you just worried that it's gonna like come back to life?
I think that's what it is. I think I've like thought about this and I think it's just that like I don't know where is the fish. It's like also the fear of the unknown of dying.
That's
Like,
fair.
where is the fish? Where is my grandfather? Not here, but it's weird because they're here. It's like a weird, I don't know.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So the Frick actually leans into its hauntings a little bit. They do have sometimes haunted tours of the grounds. I would expect, I don't know why, but like something like the Frick, I just feel like it's like so proper. Like I can't imagine that it would do haunted tours, but that's great. And you can, I mean, visit it. It's a museum and stuff. You can go picnic on the grounds and stuff like that. So
I'm gonna look up this mansion because I think I may have been there, but outside of it.
with Pitt, you used to get free admission. Like you get free admission. It's stunning.
I think I literally picnicked in front of it. I didn't go in, but I think this is where I like had a picnic, maybe. Because when you said that, I was like, is there a park around it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Sure
probably
is.
where it was. Yep.
That's funny.
Yep.
So what do you think about the ghosts here? My opinion was they just seemed to be still living, almost.
Yes.
What's your thought?
Yeah, it's very interesting that you say that because I do think it's possible that Helen is just doing her normal routine. Now, I don't know the circumstances of her passing. I don't know where she passed. It may have been in the home, but it's almost like she, had passed away and then kind of just woke up in her home and continued on with her like day-to-day activities. Adelaide, I'm interested. I would be really interested in communicating with Adelaide because I feel like for her, it's a little bit different. Like when she passed, assumedly she was in New York. So if she ended up here, I'm wondering if it's like a conscious thing, if she just woke up and ended up being here, or if it like was like something where she chose to come back here.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think about that. Why go back to that house, especially because there's so much tragedy? I mean, maybe that's why, losing 2 of your children there. That doesn't sound like a very happy place.
What if the children are there in spirits and that's why she's there? Because she gets to spend time with them.
That's a sweet theory. I like that theory.
Yeah.
So maybe, I'm running with that. So maybe the little boy is Martha and Adelaide's like taking care of them.
Yes, that would be really nice.
I like that theory. That's a great note to end on, but we do still have to answer the question. Would you visit this place?
Yeah. I mean, I did, I guess. But I did. I really liked it, if I'm like remembering correctly. And I would love to go inside. That is something that I didn't get to do that day. I think it was like past the season.
Yeah, and they have limited hours.
Yes. And so we were there, I know, during the day, but I remember not being able to go in. So yeah, I would definitely want to go. Also, the hauntings don't sound malicious or anything. Again, they just sound like day-to-day, daily routine kind of hauntings. And like we would obviously be super respectful of their belongings, so I don't have any worry about them getting angry at us.
Yeah, I agree. I think especially a place like this where I don't want to say like for sure, but we believe that the spirits are Helen and Adelaide. You have so much information on them. It would be so easy to communicate and connect with them, I think. What is interesting to me is the Civil War spirits. I want to know more about that. And it would be cool to definitively know who the young child is in the parlor.
Yes, I would love to get information on that. And then the Civil War spirits to me are really interesting. If we could communicate with them and get any sort of answer, and because they've given EVPs before, it makes me like hopeful in that. That would be really interesting because I would like to know who they are. And like maybe they're not even from the Civil War. Maybe there's additional wars that maybe someone had mistaken for the Civil War, but really it's like the Revolutionary,
That's true, because we know that Fort Pitt was very involved in several wars, and this house isn't that far.
Yeah.
That's a good thought. Well, let us know in the comments, what do you think of the Civil War soldiers, and who do you think the ghost in the parlor is? Thanks for tuning in for this week's episode of Paranormal in Pennsylvania. Tune in next Thursday to see what history and hauntings we discuss next. Stay spooky, my friends.